actually the best case scenario in terms of terrain. I'm in the coal! I am in the coal, heading now to go up to Weston Mountain, which I think will be the biggest climb for the day. And over the last 2 miles, pretty much most of this trip, my left knee has been getting worse and worse and worse and tighter and tighter. And yeah, it's pretty bad right now. I'm pretty far out from anything. I'm literally as close to the start from either end at this point. So that's really unfortunate. I've been moving pretty slowly because whatever this weird knee, oh geez, that hurt. Whatever this weird knee injury of sorts is that I experienced on my last hike when I went into the Santanoni range, I'd say towards the last 4 miles, it just started out of nowhere, tightening up and tightening up and tightening up. And by the time I was at the trailhead, it was super painful, and I have not the slightest of clues as to what has caused it or what's wrong. And everything felt fine today. That was 2.5 weeks ago. And the reason I'm really even talking right now about it is to keep my brain off of it for just a second as I keep walking. But yeah, not good. And I'm not usually one who cares about the pain so much, other than, your typical foot pain or whatever. But this is a different type of, this isn't an annoying pain. This is an actual something is wrong. But I'm so far out, at least a few miles away from the trailhead. All I can do is just keep on walking, even if that's slowly. Oh, geez, it's in the calf and in my knee and in my shin. Can't quite pinpoint it. Oh, am I still talking? Yep. Still talking. All right. We're going to call it for this live from the trail soundbite right now. So I slowly hobbled up the 450 feet of elevation gain, having 2 separate moments that I can remember as I sit here and write this story, where I was stopped dead in my tracks as the pain was so great and it completely took my breath away. Not good. And also, as I write this episode, it continues to confuse and just anger me because I still haven't a clue as to what is actually happening inside of my knee on these past 2 hikes. But I digress. So I plugged along through the woods, and in very not record time, I made it to the highest point of the Soda Range as I stood on top of Weston Mountain, with great views of Lost Pond in the valley, along with a full view of the different high points throughout this entire ridge today. Well, it's 2:42. The knee feels absolutely terrible, but I'm up here on Weston Mountain. Made it up. It's 3,186 feet elevation. This whole day only has about 1,600 feet of elevation gain, so it's a small day. And of course, it's those types of days where it messes up your body. I can crush the Great Range Traverse, but the Soda Range crushes me. I don't know, but a really great view up here. Nice big summit and a great view of the range that I've been hiking today, right in front of me. And then down to that's on my right, the range, and then down on my left, I can see Lost Pond, which is cool. Hurricane Mountain, of course, in the foreground. Fire tower looking pristine. I can see rain over in the high peaks for sure. It's definitely storming over there, but fortunately it's blue sky over here where I am, so that's nice. Great views of the high peaks. Let's see, we have Dix over here on my left. Then going from left to right, we have Dix. We've got Nipple Top. Then that would be Colvin and Sawteeth right there, and Indian Head would be between them. You got the Great Range, Haystack. Let's see, Marcy's over here. Yep. We're cruising. We are cruising. But yeah, I still got quite a ways to go back home. But fortunately, it is raining in the high peaks and it is not raining here. But I see Lost Pond. I know I'm about to head down Weston Mountain over there. So here we go. The knee hurts a lot more going down than up too, so that's unfortunate. But only one way back to the car, one foot in front of the other. So many views of the high peaks and other mountains around the Adirondacks from this ridge, and I took in those views one last time and then gathered myself, ready to continue the inevitably brutal descent down Weston towards Lost Pond and ultimately the Crow's Clearing trailhead, which at this point was still 2.5 miles away. But first I had to drop down 350 feet of gain over 0.4 miles. So that was going to be steep. Something that would normally be nothing, but today, not so much. Especially since going down is absolutely terrible. And immediately after leaving the summit, as I thought, the trail goes straight down lots of slippery boulders, and I moved slower than I've ever climbed down them before. I even stood at the top of this ledge as I looked down at the trail, and I stood there for at least 2 minutes just looking at it, just pondering how brutal and rough this was going to be, and procrastinating that pain. But down I went, because I wanted this hike to be over more than I wanted to procrastinate this steep descent any longer. The only way out of the woods was one foot in front of the other. I mean, what was I going to do? Call Josh to come carry me out of the woods? Good one. So right after you leave the summit of Weston, you drop down a whole bunch of elevation real fast. And a nice steep little section. Probably only, 100 yards worth of elevation drop, but there's one section that was just right down, and I probably stood at the top of it for at least 2 minutes just looking at it, dreading this pain here and what it was going to feel like going down it. And it was exactly as painful as I anticipated as I continue to limp down the trail, having just no freaking idea as to what has happened, what is happening inside of my left knee. I don't know. I was squatting in the gym yesterday. I deadlifted yesterday. No issues. But after the Santanoni range a couple weeks ago, suddenly out of nowhere, just this happened. And now on my very next hike, it's happening again. So that's got me a bit concerned here. If I can't go hiking, what's this all been about then? The trail is nice though. And the trail getting up to Weston Mountain was actually very, very nice because it was a nice, gradual, steady incline. Not too steep, not too flat, the right amount of incline. But yeah, coming down sucks right now. But I'm approaching Lost Pond, which has a campsite there. Maybe I'll run into some people. Who knows? Over and out. Slow, 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 I hiked gently down the stream. Painfully, 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 life was not a dream. Woof. The pain was bad. Plain and simple. And the trail down Weston as you approach Lost Pond is steep, but it's direct. And once you come out to the lean-to and the campsite at Lost Pond, you're pretty much off the mountain. So that was good. And from there I knew it was a relatively flat walk out of the woods. It's 3 o'clock. I made it to the Lost Pond campsite. It's a lean-to, very nice. And it's in very good shape. Dedicated to our beloved friend Walter Beismeyer. The peace of heart and mind he found in this wilderness will be forever shared by those who lift up their eyes unto the hills. The Adirondack Mountain Club, May 30th, 1955, and in memory of his grandson, David C. Bailey, the Algonquin chapter of the ADK. Very nice lean-to. Good little campsite. If you were looking for a quiet weekend, this would be a very quiet weekend. I'm 2.1 miles from Crow's Clearing, and it's not on the pond. The pond is down here a little ways, but, close enough. But it's not really the type of pond you're going to swim in. It's just there. But anyways, yeah, Lost Pond, pretty nice. Roof's in good shape. Lean-to's in good shape. Doesn't look like anyone's been here for a while. 2.1 miles back to the car. The lean-to at Lost Pond is in great shape, and if you're looking for a quiet, peaceful night in the woods, I'd have to imagine this would give you that. Plus, you could hike this range one day and then hurricane the next day and camp here, which would be a nice gentle day or two in the woods. Lost Pond is a very fitting name for a small backcountry pond. I'd imagine it also gets a lot of wildlife activity too, but it's definitely more pond-like than lake-like. I'd say it's more brown than blue. Just hanging out here at Lost Pond. Nice big open pond. Hurricane Mountain on the other side, looking really nice. I love that you can see the fire tower everywhere on that mountain from over here. Yeah, nice big pond. Lost Pond marked 2 miles back to the trailhead, and then a mile later I passed the Gulf Brook lean-to and campsite. The Gulf Brook lean-to sits up on the hill a little ways off the trail, but it was also in very good shape, along with the Hurricane Mountain trail split, marking the start of the final mile of my day. Yes, almost there. So I'm definitely moving slowly down this trail, kind of hobbling. Oh, just is awful. But anyways, just kind of going down. Oh no, there is a big down tree right across the trail here. And it is, one of those way too high to climb over it, but also too low to comfortably get under it without it being a whole thing. Unbelievable. This is just the worst right now. But here we go. Low down, damn you, low down. Here we go. Yeah. And we're over. And here we are. We're across. Damn you, tree. Oh, that was too much energy for right now. But I continued walking on the dirt trail along the Gulf Brook. And the sound of the river was a welcomed change, and it was another minimal but enjoyable pick-me-up as I approached the end of this day. Then about a quarter of a mile after leaving the brook, I came to the wooden footbridge at the trailhead, and I was finally back at Crow's Clearing. It is 4 o'clock right on the dot, and I have made it to the wooden bridge at the Crow's Clearing trailhead. And this 6-mile, 1,600 feet of elevation gain, little afternoon stroll is complete. And it was a lot more difficult than I ever could have anticipated, but it's done. Great hike, highly recommend it. There's not really like a big summit that you're going up to per se, but there's lots and lots of views and lots of them throughout the entire hike, so that's always really fun. You know what? I'm going to go to Stewart's. Grab a milkshake. Thank the Lord. I made it out on my own 2 feet. More like 1.5 feet at this point. 3.5 hours, ending at 4 p.m. on the dot. This hike should have only taken a couple of hours and been nice and fun, but it turned out to be something much, much worse. But it was finished. So I walked over to my van, threw my gear in, and immediately left. And of course I had to lift my leg into my van because I physically couldn't lift it in otherwise, without seeing stars. The end to what would have been an otherwise awesome trail and unique day in the backcountry. But hey, I guess I got a unique story out of it, right? Yeah, something like that. Well, despite the worst physical pain I've ever experienced on the trail, overall, I guess it was still a successful day in the woods since I made it out to the trailhead on my own 2 feet. Barely. But the soda range was complete. If you're looking for a fun, unique hike and want to hit a trail that likely isn't going to be crowded, this quick hike is a great option. Plus, with only being 6 miles and 1,600 feet of gain, you can sit on those exposed ledges and enjoy the views for a little longer than you might usually stay on them. Oh, and if you're wondering, yes, 3 days after this hike, my knee was once again back to 100%. Who freaking knows? But hey, if you're a physical therapist type and you might know, hit me up. I'd love to chat. But anyways, thanks for listening to this super strange but super truthful episode of the 46 of 46 podcast. Check back next Friday for new mountains, new stories, new guests, and new episodes here on the 46 of 46 podcast. Remember to always leave no trace, do the rock walk, never burn your clothes.